video is not sponsored by Starbucks. This is just one of my favorite mugs that I have. It's not even a thermos or anything. Today, or no, I guess it was a couple days ago that I filmed it, I changed the rail guards on the Onewheel. As I was doing it, I made a mistake of trying to peel off the plastic cover and not use any heat on it, and a lot of like the residue paint stuff, it stayed on the actual rail. So I tried scraping that off with a knife and it did not. It scraped off some of the paint on the actual rail, and that was a mistake. So here is the Onewheel, and you can see here where I initially tried to take off some of the paint, and it took off some of the paint of the actual rail itself. So I filmed a little bit about that just to show the process of what I did to change it. And now the Onewheel looks really good. Finally done, and you can see here where the paint was scratched initially, where I was trying to chip away at it with like a knife and stuff. Yeah, I think it's gonna look pretty sick once these are on. Cool. That's what it looks like now with red. I think it looks pretty sick, not gonna lie. Looks really, really nice. Let's take a look at the other side. Yeah, it's got a lot of damage. Let's see what we can do though. Well, there it is. That's it. That's all we have to do. Now we can just take off this plastic wrap on both sides, and yeah, we'll be done. All right, you guys gotta check this out. This is incredible. Absolute insanity. All right, let's talk about Onewheels, and specifically the Onewheel Pint X. This thing. The Onewheel is a great tool to get around from place to place, or just to travel, or just to have fun, honestly. Now, here are a list of reasons why I think that the Pint X is one of the most, if not the best, vehicles for transportation for college students. Starting off, the Onewheel Pint X has an incredible range at around 12 to 18 miles, based on how the riders typically ride. If they're riding harder, it's going to be less. If they're riding faster, it's going to be less. But if they're just cruising around, it's going to be around 18 miles, according to Future Motion. On top of that, the speed for a Pint X maxes out at around 17 to 18 miles per hour, and that's where you'll hit the pushback at around 18 miles per hour. But you can cruise around 16 to 17 miles per hour all around. And that might not seem like a lot, but when you're actually on the board and you're riding around, 17 miles per hour is really, really fast. And sometimes it's nicer to just go a bit slower, to be honest. As a college student, I'm constantly busy, I'm constantly on the move and working, and I don't have a lot of time to have to worry about what is going on with my Onewheel. And that's the thing, it's really reliable. I don't have to worry about startup time, I just push a button and go. If you're looking for some kind of college transportation device like an e-scooter or an e-board, I think that this is one of the best choices that you could pick as a college student. Now, as all college students are kind of strapped for cash, you could pick up the Pint, which is a little bit cheaper and has less range and less speed, but it's still a great package. One reason I like the Pint X and the Pint over the GT or the XR is that it's a lot smaller, a lot more compact. If you're trying to carry it in between classes, it's not as heavy, but it'll still be noticeable. That's another thing about the Onewheel, is that if you're carrying it around, it is sometimes a hassle, and it is really heavy to have to carry around. But in my opinion, it's completely worth it. One other key component that you have to worry about is the tire. But as you can see, this is my stock tire that I've had. I actually haven't had to worry about changing the PSI or anything in it, and it still has a good amount of tread. It doesn't come with any tread from the factory, it just comes like this. But there are other aftermarket options if you do want to change something treaded or something that's different style. But overall, you shouldn't have to worry about changing your tire if you're trying to keep it for a long time. I think you will eventually have to around 1,000 miles in if you haven't had any major complications with your wheel. So as you can also see, my board is pretty dirty on the underside, and this comes from me riding around in the rain and in the dirt. And Future Motion states that the board is only water resistant, and this is something to be concerned about as a potential rider. Onewheels are expensive, there's no doubt about it, and you want to be able to protect your investment. So riding around in the rain or in puddles, although it's not advised, I've done it and I haven't had any major issues. I went to Hilton Head over the Christmas break, and I didn't ride it on the beach, but there was definitely sand that got into the wheel, and it got everywhere pretty much. And I also went through puddles and stuff, but it didn't affect the board at all. It's still back to 100%. I would caution against fully submerging the board or just going through heavy rain, and always carry your charger port cover. I always make sure that's in there, and if I don't have one on me or it fell out, I'll just cover that with tape. Another precaution that you could use is covering up this little hole with tape so that water doesn't get completely in there. Another really cool thing about the Onewheel is that it's relatively silent. I used to have a boosted board, I think it was the Mini S with the orange wheels, but I used to have the boosted board, and that thing was really loud. You could always hear it before you saw it coming. Sometimes that can be a nuisance if you're on the way to class and you're passing by people and they look behind and they see you and they try to jump off on the sidewalk. Whereas with the Onewheel, you can kind of weave in between people without having to cause worry or panic from people as you're passing by. One thing I would caution towards getting the Onewheel, if you're worried about protecting the Onewheel as an investment because it's so much, is the fact that Onewheels don't have any key theft protection in terms of tracking. I think this is one of the biggest things that Future Motion could implement or add in some kind of update where users would be able to track the location of their Onewheel if it's ever stolen and just find out where it went. But yeah, that's all for now. Let me know if you guys have any questions or comments down in the comments tab, and let me know if you guys have any future ideas for future videos. Thanks guys, see you later.